Hello students. So today I am starting the class with explaining some more concept in this magnetic properties of the materials, because we have already completed magnetostatics part. So now from the last class we are talking about magnetic properties of the materials. Okay, so before everything, let me tell you the very basic thing. What exactly the magnetization is means, when the when any object is called to be a magnet, or when any object is understood as it is having any magnetic property, there should be a phenomena which is called as the magnetization, right? So now consider, so these four topics we'll study today. So let's start with the magnetization. So let's consider that any magnetic material, let's consider it is a magnet is there. Any magnetic material, when it is placed in a magnetic field, so this is placed in a magnetic field of this kind, then the current loops in this material, means from here to here, like this magnetic field is there, no? So to them we call it as the magnetic lines of forces. So they are forming a loop na, starting from the n ending at s, again starting from the n ending at s, means they are forming the loops, right? And these current loops of the material are parallel to the field, right? So this is the field, means these current loops are also parallel to the field. So at that time the material is called as magnetized, right? And it acquires a magnetic dipole moment. It acquires a magnetic dipole moment, right? Understood, no? When these current loops are aligned parallel to the magnetic field, the material is said to be magnetized, and this acquire magnetic dipole moment. Okay, so the magnetization m of the material is defined as magnetization m of the material is defined as the magnetic dipole moment induced per unit volume of the material. Understood? Means in particular volume of the material, how much is the magnetic dipole moment induced? Because when the material is said to be magnetized, only when it acquires the magnetic dipole moment. So in the given volume V, how much the magnetic dipole moment is acquired by that magnetic material is called as the magnetization. Okay, continuously hearing magnet, you may get confused, but try to understand the concept. Okay, every term, as I said in the last class, every term is having the word magnet, but no other term is same as any other term, right? They are different at their own meanings. Okay, so try to understand. So in this chapter, in this part of this chapter, magnetic properties, we are studying all the properties of the magnetic materials, right? So try to understand each and everything. So this magnetization is nothing but magnetic dipole moment per unit volume. Understood? So this is m is equal to m divided by v. This is nothing but the magnetization. Okay, and in the last class I told about the magnetic induction, magnetic potential, and magnetic intensity. So let me tell you one important formula, which is the relation between B, H, and M. Magnetic induction, magnetic potential, magnetic intensity, and the magnetization. The very important relation is B is equal to mu naught into H plus M. For this also a big derivation is there, but that is not for your syllabus. That's why I'm giving it directly. B is equal to mu naught into H plus M is the relation between B, H and M. Okay. So keep this, remember, we'll use this in the further concepts. So let's go for the next definition. Magnetic susceptibility. Magnetic susceptibility, which is denoted as, the second concept is magnetic susceptibility, which is denoted as Xi. Sorry, how it is? It is Xi. Okay, this is Xi, magnetic susceptibility. Okay, what is magnetic susceptibility? How to understand this means, for any means in any materials, in any magnetic materials, this magnetization is there, no, magnetization M, that is directly proportional to magnetic intensity H, right? Means as the magnetization increases, the intensity also increases. So this relation we can replace the sign and we use this symbol and H. So from this the magnetic susceptibility arrived. What is the basic thing for the arrival of the magnetic susceptibility? The magnetization is directly proportional to magnetic intensity, and there came the notation Xi, and to this we call it as the magnetic susceptibility, right? Then how can we define the magnetic susceptibility? Magnetic susceptibility Xi is equal to M divided by H, right? Magnetic susceptibility Xi is equal to M divided by H. Okay, so it can be defined as the ratio of magnetization to the magnetic field intensity H. Okay, so means by the formula this can be defined like this, and also we can define it as, it is the intensity of magnetization acquired by the material for unit field strength. It is the intensity of the magnetization acquired by the material for unit field strength. Okay, don't worry, I'll give you the definitions in the notes. Okay, so now this Xi, magnetic susceptibility, why it is important? Why it is important? Because we can classify the magnetic materials also on the base of magnetic susceptibility. That I will tell you in the further explanations. And this quantity is a unitless and dimensionless, because both M and H are having the units ampere per meter, right? That's why this is unitless and dimensionless quantity. Okay, moving on to the next definition. So the first one was what? Magnetization. Second one was what? Magnetic susceptibility. And the third one is magnetic permeability. Magnetic permeability. Okay, so before talking about magnetic permeability, let me remember this. What is this? The relation between magnetic induction, magnetic intensity and magnetization. Okay, what is that? B is equal to mu naught into H plus M. Okay, so now you know the value of M from the susceptibility equation, right? M is equal to Xi into H. So write mu naught H plus Xi into H. Okay, so how can we write it? Mu naught, take H common, 1 plus Xi and H. Okay, so this whole thing, mu naught into 1 plus Xi, mu naught into 1 plus Xi, I'll replace as mu and H as it is. Okay, so this mu, what mu is equal to? Mu naught into 1 plus Xi. Okay, so this mu is called as a magnetic permeability of the material. Understood? Mu is called as the magnetic permeability of the material. So how can we define it? From here, this is the main equation. So from here, mu is equal to what? Mu is equal to B divided by H. So can we define it as the ratio of magnetic induction to the intensity of magnetizing field or the magnetic field intensity. Okay na? So for vacuum, this is in the medium. So for vacuum, when psi is equal to 0, mu is equal to mu naught. So at that time this equation becomes B naught is equal to mu naught into H. This is in vacuum. Okay. So now this at that time the ratio, this is in vacuum, at that time the ratio B divided by B naught is equal to mu divided by mu naught. This is called as the relative permeability. Relative permeability mu r. So what is mu r is equal to 1 plus psi. Because mu divided by mu naught is nothing but mu r. Mu divided by mu naught is nothing but what? Mu r. Hence mu divided by mu naught is mu r, means mu r relative permeability is equal to 1 plus x. Okay. So this is what? Magnetic permeability. Okay. So this magnetic permeability will also decide the classification of the magnetic materials. These two definitions of magnetic susceptibility and magnetic permeability, when we decide the values of this magnetic susceptibility and magnetic permeability, we can define the magnetic materials. Okay. So how to define the magnetic materials? Okay. So how to define the magnetic materials in several types means the best way of dividing any magnetic materials or to introduce different types of magnetism is how that materials are responding to magnetic fields. Means if you apply the magnetic fields to any material, how it is responding. Okay, that can be explained, that can be the main reason to divide the magnetic materials in several types. Or also there is another way. Okay, the first way is how to describe how they respond to the magnetic field. So another way is also, just consider that in any material each electron is revolving in its own orbit around the nucleus. Okay, so each moving electron in its own orbit, it behaves like a tiny current loop, right? And therefore it possesses the orbital magnetic dipole moment, because it is moving in an orbit. What it possesses? Orbital magnetic dipole moment. And also this electron is spinning about its own axis, like the sun, earth. You can consider earth is moving around the sun also in the orbit, hence it is having orbital magnetic dipole moment. And also earth is revolving around itself, so spinning around itself. And also, so it will also will have what? Spin dipole moment, orbital magnetic dipole moment and spin magnetic dipole moment. So in general, the resultant dipole moment of an atom is the vector sum of orbital moment and spin moment, right? So this is what electron theory of magnetism. So depending on this theory also, we can divide the materials, magnetic materials, right? Based on their behavior. And also we can divide them by using how they respond to the magnetic field. Understood? We will get surprised to know that every material in the universe is magnet. Every material in the universe is magnet, but the main distinction is that some materials are having much interaction towards the magnetic moment and some materials are having very less interaction towards the magnetic moment, right? Hence the magnetic behavior of any materials can be classified as, the first one is diamagnetism. First one is what? Diamagnetism. Okay. The second one is what? paramagnetism. Paramagnetism. The third one is ferromagnetism. And the fourth one is ferrimagnetism. And the last one is antiferromagnetism. Antiferromagnetism. Okay, so for your syllabus you only have these three. Okay, so the materials which will possess the diamagnetism are called as diamagnetic material. The materials which will possess paramagnetism are called as paramagnetic materials, and the materials which will possess ferromagnetism are called as ferromagnetic materials. Understood? Ferrimagnetism and antiferromagnetism you will study in your higher classes. So now I told you this magnetic susceptibility or magnetic permeability, they will decide the classification of the magnetic material. So how? So let's talk about each magnetic material comparatively, right? If you study them comparatively, it will more easy. So diamagnetism, paramagnetism and ferromagnetism. Let's study them comparatively. Okay. So what is the role of susceptibility? We will understand first. So the first point to know about para and ferro is susceptibility. In terms of susceptibility we will talk. So for the diamagnetic materials, the susceptibility has a negative value. Susceptibility has a negative value. Understood? So in the paramagnetic materials, the susceptibility is positive. Okay, and in the ferromagnetic materials, susceptibility is very large. Susceptibility is very large. Okay, so this is the first point with respect to susceptibility. Second we will talk about relative permeability. Magnetic permeability, mu r. Relative permeability. Okay, so this relative permeability is less than 1 in diamagnetic materials. Okay, and this relative permeability is greater than 1 in paramagnetic materials, and mu r is very large in ferromagnetic materials. Understood? This is depending on the two parameters, relative susceptibility, magnetic susceptibility and relative permeability. Okay, the main differentiation you can think of these para and ferromagnet is what these two first groups, diamagnetic materials and paramagnetic materials, they will how they will respond to the external magnetic field. Okay, that is also the main thing. So when external magnetic field is applied, the diamagnetic materials are very weakly responding to the external magnetic field. Okay, so these paramagnetic materials are, when the field is applied, then only they will respond. So when the field is removed, there is no any response from the paramagnetic material, and these ferromagnetic materials are very strongly responding to the magnetic field. So here I can say that interaction is medium. So here interaction between the materials and magnetic field is very weak. Interaction between material and the magnetic field is medium. When the field is removed, the interactions are no more. But here the interaction between field and materials are very strong. Okay, next point. in an external magnetic field, how the direction of the magnetic materials. So in an external magnetic field, these diamagnetic materials are magnetized in a direction opposite to the field, in a direction opposite to the fields. Hence they will move away from the field. So when an external magnetic field is applied, the direction of the magnetization is opposite to the field, and hence they move away from the field. But here, when the external magnetic field is applied, these substances magnetized in the same direction to the field. So they will move from weaker part to the stronger part of the magnetic field. Okay, but here what happens, when the external magnetic field is applied, they get strongly magnetized in the same direction as of the external magnetic field, and they are attracted by the magnets. Okay, so here the materials will move opposite and move away, and here the direction is same as the field and they move from weaker part to stronger part. But here the direction of magnetization is same, but they are strongly attracted by the external magnetic field. Okay, so the next point is, so when these diamagnetic materials are suspended freely, when they are suspended freely, they set themselves perpendicular to the field. When they are suspended freely, they set themselves perpendicular to the field. So here, when the paramagnetic materials are suspended freely, they set parallel. They set themselves parallel to the field. Okay. So here, when the here also, when they are suspended freely, they set themselves parallel to the external field. Okay. So this is the one more part, and the last part is examples. What are the examples? So here zinc is the example, and okay, and silver and gold and lead is also example, and bismuth is also an example, and antimony means antimony is also example. These all are the examples for the diamagnetic materials. So here for the paramagnetic materials, we are having aluminum as the example, chromium as the example, manganese as the example, copper sulfate as the example, liquid oxygen is the example, and so many. Okay, and here in the ferromagnetic materials, we are having uh, iron, nickel, cobalt are the examples of these two. Okay, so this, and I told you two more are there, ferrimagnetism and antiferromagnetism. They are also closely related to ferromagnetism only. Okay, so this is about all the magnetic materials. All these things I'll uh, record in your notes, don't worry much about that. So here we'll complete with the magnetic properties of the materials. Okay, I hope you are all doing good with this chapter. The first part we completed is magnetostatics, and the second part we completed is magnetic properties of the materials. Okay, so still more two parts are there that we will continue from the upcoming classes. Okay, thank you.